Hey, it's me, Bass Rider. Just thought I'd do this video to show you my top 5 producer tips. If you find any of these tips useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment down below if you have any questions, and also share this video if you have any producer friends. Okay, let's begin. So, first tip we're going to be doing Reverb Automation. This is a very useful tip if done correctly. So, I've made a basic lead for the purpose of this tutorial. I'll show you what that sounds like. So that's the lead. Okay, let's drag the reverb onto it. So this is the basic Ableton Reverb plugin, but depending on what digital audio workstation you're using, your Reverb plugin might be slightly different, but they should all work more or less the same. Okay, so drag your dry wet all the way down, bring your decay time up a bit, highlight the dry wet, and then we can begin to draw in the automations. So I'm going to do mine like this. You can do yours slightly different if you want to. So now we should have something that sounds like this. So as you can hear, now the reverb kind of sounds like it's building into the next note. Yeah, so let's add a couple more in. Let's add one here and one here. So something along these lines. So now we should have something that sounds like this. So yeah, I hope this tip was useful. Moving on to the next tip. So, tip number 2, how to do the stutter effect that you hear in house music, commonly used by artists such as Mesto and Brooks. Okay, so let's start off. I've made this basic drum loop for the purpose of this tutorial. Nothing too complex, but what you're going to want to do is you want to get this ride cymbal. You can use whatever ride cymbal you want, but then what you're going to want to do is drag it to here, then you're going to want to reverse it. So now you should have something that sounds like this, which is good, but now you want to add the stutter effect. And how you're going to do that is you're going to automate the pan, and that should look something like this. So now it should sound something like this. So now you can hear it's doing a little stuttery thing, which is literally it just moving to the left ear, to the right ear, to the left ear really fast. So I'll play that one more time. So yeah, really simple trick, and it's going to make your music sound much better if you start using this. And yeah, I hope this tip was useful. Moving on to the next tip. So, tip number 3, saturation. This is a very useful thing to use on certain sounds in your tracks in order to bring up certain frequencies and make things cut through better. So, for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to be using this sub bass. You'll probably want to use headphones for this, as sub bass is harder to hear on things such as phone speakers and stuff like that. So grab your headphones and let's play the sub bass. So that's what it sounds like at the moment. Now let's add the saturation. So as you can hear, that's bringing up more of the mid-tonal frequencies, allowing it to translate better to systems that don't necessarily have a great bass reading. If I play it without it, and with it. So you can hear what that's kind of doing. You can also add saturation to other things such as leads, little percussive sounds, claps, maybe your hats, maybe some chords. To be honest, it just depends what the sound is. But yeah, a very useful thing to use in tracks. To be honest, you can't actually really make a big sounding track unless you use saturation at least a few times within the track. So don't forget to start using saturation if you haven't been using that already. Okay, moving on to the next tip. So, tip number 4, how to layer leads for future house. I've put together a basic melody for the purpose of this tutorial. I'll show you what that sounds like quickly. So, first off we've got the main layer, which sounds something like this. So this is the main layer. This is the one that's carrying the whole lead. So this is probably the most important one out of the lot of them. The rest are just to add more texture to this specific one. Then on to the next lead. The only purpose of this one is to be completely mono. As you can see here, I've got a mono plugin on it to make it completely mono. This is so that we've got at least one lead in completely mono to make the track mono compatible, which is useful in some cases, so it's always good to do that. Then we've got this one, which is panned slightly to the right, and this one, which is panned slightly to the left. The only purpose of these two really is to make the lead wider. They don't really add anything to the overall lead, they just make it wider really. Then we've got this one, which is just a clicky kind of pluck sound to add some plucky texture to the lead. Then we've got this one, which is just a vocal chop, just to add some vocal texture to it, because why not? And the last thing is this stutter effect like from earlier. And yeah, that's basically all I've done for this lead, nothing too complex. And yeah, so moving on to the next tip. So, tip number 5, the final tip. This one isn't as impressive as the other ones, but I thought I'd show it anyway, because I find it really useful and I haven't really seen many other videos on how to do this, which is how to set your EQ to mono/stereo, so you can either EQ only stereo frequencies or only mono frequencies. So I'll show you what that sounds like. So I've put this random bass line in to show you what it kind of sounds like. So as you can hear, there's a lot of mono and a lot of stereo in this bass. So then if you go to your EQ, you click the M/S mono/stereo, and now if you do this, you're removing all the mono frequencies from the low end and only having stereo frequencies, which sound something like this. Or you can do it the other way around, which is the way I do it. Remove all the stereo frequencies from the low end, so your low end stays in mono. So yeah, I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment down below if you have any questions, and share this video if you have any producer friends. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.